Alrighty, folks. Today we have Sammy. He is a client and absolute rock star with agenttraction.io. Now, a couple things that we have in store for you guys today, particularly about agent traction and how Sammy used digital product to take things to the next level. And yeah, a lot of the questions, of course, a lot of people want to speak to our case studies and they want to know more. And what this will do is this will sort of give you a lot more in detail without having to really reach out to these clients and all that kind of stuff. So we'll start off. We'll hand over the mic to you, Sammy, and just tell us about yourself, where you're based at right now, and just give a quick little rewind on, where you started off and where you're at right now.
Yeah, 100%, man. So I got into real estate right before the boom of the market. So I got into real estate in 2019. And then we just saw some phenomenal years like 2020, 2021, up until like April of 2022 till that the first rate hike happened. Like it was just, you put a listing up, after 1 weekend it's gone, right? So those 2.5 years were like what put me on the map. It gave me enough capital to start building out my team. And that's when I met you. I think we met in 2022, if I'm not mistaken,
I believe
around the
so,
same
yeah.
time. Yeah, somewhere around there, like beginning of 2022. And it was very interesting to me because at that time I was in a coaching program where I kept talking about how it's not fulfilling me anymore to just sell homes, but it's just such a cool experience to bring a new agent to the team, get them through the process, teach them everything that I know, give them all my intellectual property and value, and then just see them flourish. Right. And then it's
Mm.
also adding to your bottom line because they're part of your team. So really that coach inside of me started to brew. And I got this aspiration of, okay, maybe I can be a coach. The challenge was, at that time, I was only 3 years into the business. So there's this innate fear of failure that I had before I had met you, that I couldn't do this because people would ask me, well, you're only been in business for 3 years. Sure, I have a strong track record, but I didn't think that would be justifiable enough for me to jump into, calling myself a coach. And so sort of the mind hack that I guess you and I did was this whole thing that's called a consultancy, which I didn't even know was a phrase back then, right? Which is, we're not necessarily a lead generation company, nor are we a coaching company. We're sort of in the middle. And I think that's sort of become now our slogan when we do our sales calls, which is, we're a consultancy, meaning we're going to give you all of our intellectual property, install the entire blueprint into your system, but you are the person in the driver's seat. Right. So anyway, met you a couple of years ago, and since then we've serviced close to 200 agents worldwide. Over 80% of them Canadians. Currently active 91 clients in our community. And as of the beginning of this year, we hit 7 figures for the business since inception.
Love it.
Which from a profitability standpoint, you can do $1 million in real estate as a team leader, and maybe net 20 to 30% after paying for, leads and marketing costs and agent splits, which is 50-50 industry standard. And on this side of the business, we get salespeople coming in at a 20% split. So like from profitability perspective, I think this business, which is another thing we can get into, which is a lot of these folks coming into watching this interview and moving forward with you, considering that this is in itself an entire business, has sort of bankrolled my real estate business.
Yeah.
Right. And I never thought that would be the case. I just thought that this would be an opportunity for me to make an impact and continue being that coach and bring that inner coach alive. Next thing you know, 6 months down the road, I was starting to make more money doing this than I was in selling real estate. And when you look at profits.
Yeah, and also like, you don't have to actually physically leave the office per se. You can just do it from a laptop, right?
That's the other thing, right?
Yeah.
So like right now, most of my business, like I could be anywhere in the world, which is crazy to me. That's why I ended up moving to Toronto. Like right now I'm in Liberty Village, Toronto. My real estate team, a tiny aspect of it, sure, is here in Toronto. Most of it is in BC. but I was literally able to move to a different province in pursuit of starting a team here because I had that bankroll coming from the coaching business. If I didn't have that, if I was relying solely on real estate sales in my BC team, I wouldn't have the opportunity to install a market leader there and pay additional splits because then you're getting below 20% net profit, right? So I wouldn't have the ability to move flexibly. Like tomorrow, I can go to Australia or Dubai and the business will still flow because again, you're just doing everything off the computer. And that's the other thing I realized doing this is I was so in person when I was in real estate. And you opened my eyes up to, okay, like everything can be done online, right? If COVID taught us anything, like you can literally run a 7-figure business online. Um, yeah, man. So this has been life changing, to say the least.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. And then I think, just as like when you found out about us, like we were running ads and stuff, same thing you're doing now. It's funny because like it's like a flywheel, right? We do the same
Yeah.
thing, and it works. But like I think so, yeah, you mentioned like you had a little bit of doubts coming in, of course. And I think the word coaching it also scares a lot of people off because I get it, like, we're comparing ourselves to like Tom Ferry or Craig Proctor, all these big coaches, but necessarily you are not like a coach, you're a consultant on a very specific thing. And I think a lot of team leaders or successful agents they can learn from this is like you can monetize those same skill sets in other vehicles with doing less work, and like who doesn't want to work less, earn more. But I think also like using that as well, like the main purpose here is like agent traction and recruiting. um it fits in perfectly with that as well. And I think before, I think you would see in our ads way back today, and back then we were really just focused on like just only sell that digital product, only sell that consultancy. There wasn't so much of a focus on agent attraction, but we realized after our clients, like yourself and Will and Joel and all these guys, like they were using that to attract.
Mm-hmm.
And like when you came in, did you ever think about the possibility to attract, or it
Never,
came in
dude.
later?
It just happened so organically because my whole purpose with this consultancy was just to get one of those plaques that you have in your background, right? Like which we're finally now in the third year closer to getting. Hopefully this is the year. But so for me, it was always just revenue driven. I'm looking at this business, it's like 70% profitability, right? So I'm like, man, like this is a gold mine. So I was just so focused on just closing high ticket, right? Like every single day, just that one product. I never thought what would happen as a result because then you see all these great agents looking at our products and our value proposition and saying, okay, we really, really want this. But we're either new in the business or we took a little bit of a break or hiatus or what happened last year. Like a, a lot of agents, like in a century in Canada, it was the lowest record of transactions that occurred in 100 years,
Yeah.
right? So that was like like a lot of agents, good agents, wanted our service but didn't have the capital to afford our service. And then you can get creative with it. Like we partnered up with some financing companies, but I mean it's like 7 to 12% interest, and not just that, some of them don't get approved. So like they're started to now become like this innate group of individuals out of the hundreds of leads that we get every single month that are saying, hey, we like your service, we believe you, we trust you, we can't afford you, right? And at that point I was just like, man, like this is just such a underserviced category of my business. And also at the same time, I can't just load everyone on my team because I need to, there's a whole difference between your downline versus your team. Your downline relies, sure, partly on your leadership and, your ability to give them access to certain things, but also the brokerage as a whole and your sponsors on top of you. But with the team, it's a lot more personal, which you're working with that person every single day. So, it's 100 people interested in coming to you. You can't just load every single person on your team. And I'm not really a big believer in the whole revolving door strategy where, if a person has a license, they come in and they go as they please. That's just not my team leader style. So that's when the whole idea about agent attraction, which I wasn't big on. Like I've always been a producer. I never thought that I would even aspire to build a passive income revenue stream a rep share through agent attraction. I just thought, okay, this platform is great. The collaboration is fantastic. If agent attraction happens, it just happens. And I always thought that my production would lead to the agent attraction. It wasn't. It was the consultancy that led to the agent attraction. And then when we found out that, okay, this is actually a thing, then we went back to our scripts and edited them and, really tried to set up those one-on-one calls with me for people that couldn't afford it. So then I can kind of walk them through the different pillars of, okay, you can join my organization, you can join my team. These are the differences. And so to answer your initial question, did I anticipate it happening? Not at all. It just happened very organically.
Yeah, and I think that was a big reason as well, like why we had changed our name, because like it was just so much, it made so much sense. And I think you 2 points that I want to pick up there as well. Like, one thing is you mentioned the people that came in, you know, first of all, like you thought right now that production was like one of the main drivers of agent traction. I think a lot of people do, but the thing is, like when it comes to agent traction, you're sort of competing at an international level with people, and like there's people that have a lot of production on the states, and I think the way to really not so much production. Sure, you might get some people locally with the production as well, and maybe nationally, but I think the big thing is like identifying yourself and differentiating yourself in a different way, and that's where the digital product really comes in. And so yeah, like you came in and you jumped on board, and I think you initially took a little bit of a break in the program too, but like when you finally started up again, was it like a steep learning curve where everything was sort of pretty straightforward? You picked it up easily, or
No, it's just I think it's more so the mindset behind it. Like, there's this fear of failure when you start something new that, man, like you're almost trying to find excuses to fail,
mm,
right? Like you're like, oh my God, all these videos, and the Prab is talking to me about the different stages of the market and market saturation. He's talking about continuity and CRMs and affiliate and this and that and that and that. And you look at it and you're like, holy crap, like I don't think I'm made for this. But it's an excuse, right? Because there's no such thing as a learning curve. It's the time curve, right? So if hypothetically I was to go down to the corner store right now, something that was for sale for $100,000, and I pick it up, it's not like I'm going to be able to operate it even if it's turnkey right away. Like I still need to learn the business to be able to then continue to hire staff and then figure out where my product is coming from, what my profit margins are. And like I feel like a lot of people don't understand that when they're going into this digital space, which is there's no such thing as a learning curve. There's just a time curve. That with anything new that you're doing, you need to allocate certain time, amount of time and resources to make sure that it's going to be successful. I think the way you lay it out, and a lot of people might not be a fan of this. I've always been a nerd my entire life. The the business philosophy of an online product and digital learning that you've taught me single-handedly, I haven't learned from anywhere else. Why? And the thing, Prab, is like I could have gone online, dude, and found it if I did enough research. But when you have now this commitment, like you have the skin in the game, you paid someone 15 grand, and you're like, man, I have no choice but to do the work. Right. And I think that's where a digital product is, especially high ticket, is a beautiful thing, which is when you're already committed, like your skin is in the game, you have no choice but to take action. And I think to answer your question, the curve wasn't necessarily there. I took that 6 months hiatus from the moment that I joined because of the fact that I had that fear of failure and I was trying to convince myself that I wasn't cut out. All I had to do is structure myself to learn and then implement.
100%. I think, yeah, that's what a lot of people as well, like I see is, like, you know, there's two things that I want to mention. Like first thing is like, yeah, you mentioned like the ticket price and everything. And, whenever you pay a lot of money and, investment beats commitment. And it happened for you as well. You paid that much, and, now you implemented, but also for your agents that you're selling on, if we want to get people that are motivated and sort of put the work in, then if someone pays that much money, they're going to put in the work. But yeah, I think also like, a lot of people that we talk to, especially like what ends up happening is everyone sort of comes up with excuses because no one wants to leave their comfort zone. But everyone also has these goals and ambitions. So like, for example, like there might be someone that's talking to us right now. They're in production and like their family, they want to spend more time and they're all in production and they know that they can make a lot of money without working that much. And they know whether it's a downline, digital product, whatever it is, it's ideally to do best to do both of them because now you get the downline growing and you make money and you can sort of move from production. You can spend more time with the family. I think that's what we all want. Like intrinsically,
Yeah.
we don't really all want more closings. We don't want more downline people. We just really want more time and we
Hmm.
just don't have to ever worry about money again. That applies for any entrepreneur. And I think a lot of people they make excuse like, oh, I'm gonna wait for this perfect time when production sort of handle off and I hire like a COO and then I'm gonna step into this. But the thing is like that time never usually comes. I think for a lot of people, just gotta and I think that one of the good things now is when you came on, the program was a lot more done with you. Like it was a lot of work on your end. Now, like the new offer like that we have for people that are watch this is like more done for you. So like we even take even more time off the client's hands. But like what do you
I'm
say
I'm
about
glad I
that?
could be the guinea pig.
100%. No, for sure.
But dude, like
And
I gotta say that as much as I don't know what the variation is now, what I can say, I mean, I haven't had to use it because once it's implemented, it's autopilot. That's just how it works. Sure, you go in and make tweaks and things, but really, once everything is going, you have your sales team set up. All you're really focusing on is um, efficiency of the product and the results that it delivers and the client satisfaction, right? And that is the same thing over and over again every single day. You just
yeah,
keep growing on that. But one of the things I'm so grateful for is coming in at the infancy of when you were starting this is because I got to see you behind the curtain of what you're thinking, right? They're like, it was, I remember it was so new that the second module videos weren't even up. Like you signed me
yeah,
up that early. And so I would be texting you like, bro, like the second module, and you'd be like, yeah, it'll be done in a couple of days. And that for me was just such phenomenal experience because I got to really learn. And you can't replace that. So I guess my feedback for anyone watching this is sure, there's going to be an element of the program where perhaps team is going to be able to do a lot of the things for you. I would still suggest that you go into school and you watch every single one of those videos because those videos are invaluable. Like once you actually start to figure out what you're even doing, right? Like when you start to figure out the difference between, okay, done for you, between hybrid, between done with you to potentially SaaS, right? And the possibilities that lie ahead. And that will only happen if you actually take the time to learn the products.
yeah, 100%. I think, like people come in and like a lot of them have like a lot of beliefs that hold them back. And like obviously, beliefs is like internal, external, but like, sometimes we're trying to always make it as easy as possible for clients. Like sometimes a client would be like, oh, I only want done for you ad management. So we added in daily coaching calls so they can bring their ads and our coach can review them. And like the stuff you can hire like media buyers, they can run your ads for you. But people get held up on the small things. They don't look at the overarching message. And then
Mm-hmm.
I wanted your input as well, but like people that do think like, oh, I don't have the time, like I want to like I love this, but I want to wait until that perfect timing comes in when like my team's really outsourced. I think what do you say about that? Like, because I mean, you've sort of been through it, and you were sort of managing the team at the same time, right? So
Yeah, dude. Like I would say that's again that inner drunken monkey, that fear of failure that's really preventing you from something beautiful in life. Because listen, a lot of us we're saying we don't have time is because we're choosing not to allocate our time in the right places. Tomorrow, if I was to go back to square one, I would be presented with the same options again, right? If I do this and invest more time into this, sure, I build revenue here, but then I lose revenue there, right? It's because there's only so much you can handle in each bucket. But then you have to also then compare what you're looking to do. And this is the same conversation that we had, like one of our first one-on-ones, which was like after you've done 100K, like when you hit your first 100K, you literally deal with an identity crisis. Like you don't even know what to do because you're like, holy shit, I have to grind so hard to make the same amount of money in real estate. And and if I'm not grinding, then it's like full-time management of people. So then everything is compliant. So then your sellers are not pissed off. So then you have the right keys with the right agent for the right open house. Even though you have a weekend off, you're stressed out about how the open house is going. And so you're presented with an option, right? Like you can continue going down that path and sure hit $1 million with maybe 20 agents on your team at a 20% profitability, or you hire two kick-ass guys that have B2B sales experience, and you can literally with one offer and the crappiest looking funnel do 7 figures within a year and a half, right?
Yeah.
Like it's totally possible for someone watching this video right now who's maybe done 3-4 years in real estate, who's maybe sold, even under 100 homes, who just has the aspiration of something different. And so to answer your question, like, is it like, can anyone do it? Sure, but like, it's a question. Like, what do you want for yourself? Do you
Yeah.
want to be known as a real estate agent, top performing agent, a team leader, top mega team? Does that fit your lifestyle? Do you want to show up to the office every single day, and manage 30, 40 people? Are you okay with the profits? Like, really, like, there's some mega teams out there that are doing, 3, 4, 500 homes a year, but then you look at their P&L and they're under 20%, right? So, and then on top of that, you're chained to a particular geography and demographic.
Hmm.
So, and like, what I'm saying is, I'm being hypocritical because I've managed to kind of have the best of both worlds, which is I've managed to still keep my feet into real estate and also at the same time really drive this consultancy. But I got to be honest with you, it's coming to a point where sometimes I wake up and I question myself. I'm like, man, and if my agents see this, that nothing's happening, you guys are good. But like, it's a real question, which is like, why do you even need to produce when you have the potential at a 7-figure business? Right. So it just comes down to what you want to do. And like, we all do business planning on a yearly basis. I think your eyes really open up when you start to plan for 5 to 10 years. And I think when I did that last year, like, that really was an aha moment, which is for me, I don't think doing production in real estate is a long-term thing for me. I think it's going to be a business that gets sold off, or I'm involved maybe 10% of the time. And like, this is going to be the future.
And yeah, I think that's what like I always say, like, sitting down and deep down thinking like what do I really want? And like I think also like as an entrepreneur is really about like everyone has skill set. The more skill set they have, typically like the better they do, the more they earn. It's about what's the best vehicle for your given skill sets. And I think a lot of people are just that fear of change. Like even if we think about people that are trying to join cloud-based brokerages, if they're used to traditional model, there's like that belief in terms of like, oh crap, so I'm gonna have to go to a brokerage model that might not even have brokerage in office, right? So
Hmm.
it's like that belief. But I also think that like as an entrepreneur, you got to think about what is that like. Let's say you want to maintain your team, you want to get into expansion teams, you want to do all that. Like even if you sell a digital product or you get a consultancy model, same thing. What's that one big domino that if you topple it, topples everything else? I mean, Gary Keller talks about the one thing. It's like if you do solve this, right? Because like if we talk about team leadership and like brokerages and downline, all that kind of stuff, like the highest leverage activity for you really is to bring in the right agents and consistently bring them in. And this way you do both of that. So this way, like you can, if you want to, some people don't want to, but they can get out of production, they can replace and make more money. I mean, in upwards, like my personal example, I mean, we did this at a much higher level, but like we were doing like 300, 350K a month of revenues, right? So like per month, and like that's and a real estate team at like 40% profit margins. Like it's very hard. So you can do that from your laptop, and like obviously
Hmm.
really grateful for it. But secondly, like with that one domino, it tackles every other domino, right? So I
Yeah.
mean, what I actually wanted to get into now is like let's talk a little bit more about this domino. And the first question I have is like that ramp up period, like what were the numbers sort of a digital product sales? And then after that, I want to sort of segue as well into agent attraction, particularly because I think that's what a lot of people are curious about as well. But like let's talk about that digital product. So you started off, and I think you started getting running ads right away, or did you sell to your organic network first?
No, I started running ads right away because when I got into real estate, I tried to sell to my friends and family, and it blew up in my face. And I started running ads, and next thing you know, I started closing deals. So I did the same thing. Like the moment I came into the group, like I didn't even have my course set up, and I was already selling, right? And that's when I
Yeah.
learned MSF, which is a whole another conversation. But so like I just started running heavy ads, and then I broke at one point because I was running probably 6 to 7 grand in ads a month, and I would have literally 12 demos booked. I didn't have sales guy on my team, right? So I was double booking demos, and I was literally 8 hours worth of 9 hours worth of demos a day, and it just got so exhausting. And then I transitioned into a sales team. But to go back to it, so the 2022 when I joined with you, I took a 6 months hiatus. I think I joined in like March, and so I started up again in fall. In this last like 5 months of that year, we hit just 100K. So I think and my ticket price was super low back then too. Like I think it was like 4 or 5 grand. So quite a few agents, and we cracked that 100K. We cracked the 100K. Then I got sales guys in, and then in 2023, we did close to 700K.
Love it.
Right. So it was like a crazy shift. But then at that point, we had 3 sales guys, right? And we had calendars booked. We were seeing, consistently 15 to 20% closing ratio out of the demos. So it really grew there. And then this year has just been on that upward stride. So far, since the inception of the program to now, we've done over $1.2 million in revenue.
I love it. And I can see you guys doing like, especially right now, like we're redoing a lot of the product as well. And like we're gonna add more higher level stuff. And I'll get you access to that. And like, I don't see you guys not hitting like 200-300 grand months and just in digital product sales alone. I think that's the way I look at it almost now is like the digital product. It's like a side benefit because like you make a lot of profit, you can, buy back time, but then one of the things that the digital product allows you to do is you get a lot of extra profit, you reinvest it back into ads, you keep
Mm-hmm.
scaling and scaling, and it just comes out how many more closers can I hire. And now speaking about the closers, right? So I think one of the things that a lot of people understand is like with a digital product, you don't actually have to sell it every time. I recommend selling it because then you want to get paid to attract. Because now we're going to segue into agent attraction. It could be recruiting for a local team too. I think we'll talk about that and what you're doing. But downline attraction, even like some of our clients did the same thing for independent brokerages. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but agent attraction wise, like so you have people that are like 12 appointments a day. You said right. So like at its peak, you're booking dozens of appointments a week with agents that want to work with you because they view you as this expert, right? And that's one of the first key elements of agent attraction, anyways. Is if they don't view you as that person, it's gonna be very hard. There's a reason why like the number one agent attractor at some of these brokerages, like the top ones, are usually influencers on YouTube, and people already know, like, and trust them. So instead of having to spend years building this YouTube following, the one way you can bypass that is like run ads and have a funnel and
That's,
digital
yep.
product, right? So these people come on your calendar, and obviously you're selling them on, and you're making all this money, but like the people that don't and cannot afford it, then your process, like the salesperson's like, hey, look, um, I know you really want to jump on, and we have this unique offer that I can get you booked in with Sammy, and he can give you more information about that. So is that how you attract without even selling the digital product, right?
Now, yes, dude, now, but like initially it just happened very accidentally, right? So initially we had no system, and we're missing out like a bunch of market share when it came to agent attraction because we weren't capturing that audience at all. It was just if the person on the other line was resourceful enough to find my contact and like
Mm,
find a way to reach out, because if they got shut down on upfront revenue, or like we've done everything and try to get the financing, this and that, and didn't work, we would just literally walk away. Right, and there goes the potential of an attracted agent. And then what ended up happening is a lot of people just started reaching out to me via social media, because again, I have my personal, not personal, but like just my only Instagram account linked to the ads, right? And our ads are anywhere from 4 to 6 grand a month. So I end up getting a lot of direct messages that I just sort of send back to like a book demo with a sales team. But for the first little while, it was very accidental. People would reach out to me and say, "Hey, yeah, I did a demo with DK, or let's say Gurpreet, or whoever was the sales guy, and it's really good. Like, is there anything we can do from like a pay at close? Like, we get a lot of pay at close." I'm like, "No, I don't do that. I don't know you, but we can partner up, right?"
mm,
And that's where it opened up, where I'm like, "Okay, I need to grow my team anyway, so maybe a conversation is justifiable, right?" So at that point, I added an extra slot in my Calendly that said collaboration call 30-minute, right? And
Collaboration.
at that point, so it was just so accidental. And now it's at a point where, okay, we've done everything. We can't get the agent to the closing point. But they've expressed eagerness. They really want to get this going for their business. At that point, the salesperson will connect me. And the salesperson really wants the revenue up front. So they'll do everything to collect that revenue. If they lose any opportunity at it, only then will they connect me. And that, from
Mm,
an attraction standpoint, becomes very simple. It's almost done. You show up to that call and it's already done, right? So you
yeah.
just kind of need to walk them through the next steps after that.
And I think also, like, I picked this up from one of our other clients. He's doing it for his independent brokerage. This guy literally started his own cloud-based brokerage. He's in the program. I'm gonna interview him soon too, so might be some golden nuggets there. But what he actually does is he uses digital product and everything, and he says, "Hey, like I have a pay at close model for people that can't buy it, and then like I could talk to you a little bit more about." Then he gets in a partner up with his independent brokerage. So like
Mm,
you might be able to rephrase it to that as well, like a pay at close model type of thing. Uh,
interesting.
so like I mean you could try out different things. But yeah, I mean so that's before they even buy the digital product. Now the way that we recommend is sell the digital product because obviously make money, get paid to attract, put that extra profit back into ads and keep it going. And also that's the way you can sustain a sales team, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I think that if your salespeople are also licensed in your downline, obviously it's a great thing, but then you also start to take away from selling digital product and then they're going to be pushing for the downline, right? So
Yeah,
um, I
exactly.
mean, this I think also like that's more of a some brokerages don't even they have rules around that too, I think, right? I think
For me, like I just have a personal thing where my closers are just not licensed agents, and my sales team members on my team that are licensed agents are just separate, because I've done that once or twice where it gets a little messy, where now they're giving up on taking out buyers because they want more demos because it's quicker cash, right? So we're out here turning licensed real estate agents into closers because they're making more money at 20% selling this than they would selling real estate at 50%, which is just mind blowing.
no, it's all about the vehicle. And I have a quick question here as well. So like you know how you're running ads like locally and like through Canada, right? I think a lot of people understand like they build your personal brand and people are like, oh, I've seen you on internet and I've seen you all over, right? I see you everywhere. And did some people just join your downline just like that or ask to join your team like without even actually wondering about the digital product? Like there's some
I've
people that come in
never,
that way.
yeah, I've never, so I've had conversation. I've never picked up the phone and called an agent to either join my team or my downline ever
Mm,
before. It's
okay.
always been them initiating, and maybe there's a missed opportunity there. But I'm just so focused on, when it comes to agents, is if I'm going to approach someone is because I feel like they're a good fit within our community and they're going to need to pay us X amount of money to get access to our digital product. Because it
Uh,
goes, once you start building a community, it's beyond the digital product. Now we
yeah.
have people renewing every single year because they can't fathom doing their business without attending our daily calls, coaching calls that we do.
Yeah.
Right. So,
There's a
yeah,
network effect there with the community, right? And like the community just becomes bigger than the digital product. Like the community of agents, you might have agents all over Canada. Now they have a referral network in place. They can do
huge
different
referral
things,
network.
right? So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of stuff. And like I learned that too. Like I buy a lot of products. I mean, not real estate related, but like the communities usually ends up being more powerful than the actual product, right?
The
So
actual product itself,
yeah,
because of the collab, because like everyone looks at information differently, right? So to you, you might look at the same book as I do, and we might walk out of reading that book with two different perspectives. And so when you now, that's the whole like terminology behind a mastermind, which is you're getting like-minded individuals together to achieve the same goal of growing together. And I think that's something really beautiful that's occurred. And I didn't really realize this till we had like, 20 agents. And then from there, now we're sitting at close to 100 active agents in our program. And you just really start to see the engagement and people actually like eager. Like there's been times where we had, like last week we had a Toronto real estate board event that I was attending. Jay Shetty came out and all these, like it was a big event, so we
yeah.
had to cancel our Thursday call for that. And you have people messaging, hey, we're not doing a call, I saw this notification XY, because they're looking forward to being part of that conversation because it's an integral part of their business. right? So to
100%.
answer your question, the initial question is I've never attracted a single person on my team. I've never reached out to an agent and told them that I think they would be a good fit on my team. It's always been the other way around. And I almost feel like there's a lot of people in this cloud brokerage world that will treat agent attraction very similarly to cold calling and closing
It's
deals.
chasing. Yeah.
It's chasing, it's not attracting, right? Like that's
Yeah.
just it's icky, man. Like it's like a used car salesman.
A-
Hey, like you looking to change your brokerage? Like,
And you're
man,
also
that's no
attracting the
one's.
wrong 8 people in, right? Like those people,
Yeah,
they come as fast as they leave type of thing. And it's
exactly. Like
not ideal.
you have to give them tangible value, right? Like when people go through the funnel, or they see stuff on social media or just hear down the grapevine that okay, there's legitimate agents within their geofarm that are testimonials on our websites that have seen mind-blowing results. Like they want to, if they don't have the money to afford our digital products, they want to take their time to reach out to us to see how they can be a part of the community.
100%.
Right.
And I think there's a lot of other benefits too. Like, and I'll get into this shortly, but like, um, if we talk about the process for attraction on the back end, right? Like, so let's say I come in, I buy your product, right? From scaleyourresults.com, and like, I'm getting success. And I might not have even like actually closed deals yet, but I'm just getting value from the community. Is this where like you would sort of reach out, or someone on your team reaches out like, hey, like, do you want to work with Sammy at a closer level, or like they just reach out to you on the back end? Like, what's that process like?
Honestly, it's been I think I need to go and look at some of the new videos that you put together for agentattraction.io because it's just been very accidental so far
Mm,
where you kind of become part of the community and there's always going to be I was this guy pretty much in everything that I've done. I've just been like that that eager beaver, right? Where I've always just kind of wanted more. Like even with you, I was just like, man, like I have this idea and that idea, and like 90% of the time you shut it down because it's a stupid idea. But but like I have so now those people actively in my community where there might be XYZ people that are actively just always reaching out to me and they're just always asking me for their opinion, and that connection just very automatically gets made, which is then bigger conversations start happening around, okay, like where do you see yourself, right?
mm,
As a coach, like where do you see yourself in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years? Does your business model align with who you're who you're with, whether it's a community or a team, or like that's my duty to my client as a coach. Forget agent attraction. I need to make sure that their business is set up for success. And oftentimes you find out that they're paying $1,200 a month to Remax for what? So they can ride the imaginary balloon, right? Like, so those conversations very organically start to happen, right? And now I'm not pitching them. I'm just telling them, hey, listen, there's an opportunity where you can be part of the community. So you can come down to the office when me and Sid are chilling and dialing the leads from 12 to 2 every single day as part of our culture, right? And you can see to figure out for yourself if you want to be part of that community, right? Or you want to
mm,
come on to our weekly coaching calls that specifically, if you're a team leader, they're specifically for team leaders, right? You see if you want to be part of that community. So then becomes that conversation about, okay, like there's now a business alignment in addition to me just sharing my intellectual property. It's now
mm,
getting deeper into business, right? And so if I'm going to extend that hand for you, we're going to need to actually be in business for it to work,
100%.
right? So those conversations, to answer your question, there's no system. I think I can use your help to set up a system that would help me with that. But so far, again, it's just been very organic, and I've been liking it this way so far, to be honest.
Yeah, I think read the process, like just like and but I mean, like we're gonna add these kind of videos in as well, and like training on this, and even like other people in the program, they're doing different things, and everyone could collaborate. But like, um, what I've seen is like, just like you built a funnel on the front end, you got to build a funnel on the back end. So you get these people that buy your digital product, right? You get like you can have coaches, you can hire these coaches can literally be in your downline too, because now I think with EXP, they have like the new revenue share model, which you don't have to
Mm-hmm.
actually track certain number of agents. And one of our clients as well, like what he's doing is like he's getting his direct downline as a coaches in the program. and he of course assigns them like a certain number of clients, and they have activation points. So activation point is like, hey, like you have 4 touch points. The first thing is you gotta come in, you gotta get on board. The second thing is you gotta get ads running. Third thing is gonna have appointments set by yourself. Fourth thing is have an ISA booking appointments for you. You have all these things coming in, and then by if you reach the fourth activation point, then they're a good fit for our back end offer, which obviously double the
Mm.
price, right? Now what you end up doing is you get them to book a call with like a coach, and that coach is probably already in your downline, or you can either be you, doesn't matter. But what happens is that that coach now pitches like, hey, look, you're already doing this much, and before you came in with us, you were doing this much, and now you're here with us. What I want to do is an extended invitation for you for our inner circle, for our ascension program, whatever it is, right?
Right, right, right.
And from there, you could be like, you know, be like, this is how much it costs, and they might object that price and be like, okay, now they really want to work with you though, and they know it's a fit. So you can be like, look, there's another way to get this all for free, and what I want you to do is, I can extend an invitation for you to partner when you go in business together. So
Mhm.
that's like the natural way of doing it, and that way you
Yeah.
actually maximize. Like you already have people reaching out, but now you really maximize it. And I think that the good thing about that as well is that not only do you like, I need the goals to attract as well to your downline, get a compounding thing as well, or even like your local team. But also, like, there are some people that just buy your product, and for whatever reason, they do not want to leave the brokerage because maybe their friend owns it and they're like tied to their friend, their personal relationship there, whatever,
Right.
right? And at least
Lots of
that way
that.
you still capitalize on it, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that would be the way that I would recommend. And like for like how many people have you attracted ballpark like from like this whole marketing consultancy model?
So again, accidentally, without really putting in much effort into it, we did close to 30 agents. Now the preface I want to make here is like what the possibilities are and could have been had we been more structured behind this. Because again, attraction was never the main goal; it just happened,
Yeah.
right? So we've served close to 200 agents, and that's what a 15% ratio. Had we been structured, maybe it could have been a 25 to 30 to 35% ratio,
And
right? So I think there's a lot of missed opportunity there. And with this new content now, I'm going to learn how to properly do it. And I think a big part of it for me would not just be agent attraction, it's going to be building the team. Because really
mm,
going into this year, the more I want to take myself away from the daily operations of the team, I need to increase the overall revenue of the team. So then I can start adding in, the COOs or the operations managers and all these type of, positions that are salaried. In order for me to do that, we need to hit, 1.5 in GCI consistently annually. So
mhm.
for me, I'm going to use now the consultancy to feed back into what is being fed this whole time, right? The consultancy is always fed the real estate business, and now the real estate business has an opportunity to feed the consultancy by just getting more team members on board. And
Basically
I think this is
yeah.
where, right, like it's what the difference between the type of attraction you want to do. Like your attraction could be specifically just downline digital product access, or you can take it to the next level and you can actually help agents. And you already have, for those people that maybe have an office space or have a good system and good lead flow, and they can afford to bring on more agents. The more you bring on, the more structured you are, the more SOPs you have in place, the more production is going to go up. And I think that's also a huge another opportunity for me to now go back to the 200 clients that we've served to start figuring out who could be a good fit of the team itself in addition
Yeah.
to downline.
So you could like basically cherry pick and get the right people. And like I think that's you can see the right and then also like and these people already view you as that expert, and like, that conversation is different, and it's like another way to monetize, right? I think that's one of the reasons I think, you're from BC, originally Canada, but you wanted to make another team as well in Ontario because you had so many clients that were buying digital product in Ontario. So like, you know
Mm-hmm.
what? Why not maximize this, right? So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
And I
We're
think
underway, man. Like the Toronto license is here. We already have 2 team members in Toronto, so it's
Mhm.
in its infancy. But my goal is to grow out the Toronto team to at least 10 agents.
I love it. And then yeah, of course you get paid way more, right? So you get I
Yeah, you
think
get paid double.
I think what people don't understand is like it's like a symbiotic relationship. So like everything works together. Like one would work obviously one could work on its own, but like both of them work together and they just complement each other. And I think a lot of people don't understand it that lens. And I think another thing as well is like, talking about exit strategies and stuff. Like, let's just say obviously everyone wants to fundamentally as humans, like, psychologically, we just want to work less, earn more, right? And I think with this like digital product business, um, I think I'm not sure if you've considered this, and I'll tell you my personal story here as well. But like, you got 200 agents that you sold on, like, I think with scaling it, like in less than 2 years, we sold on 900 agents, and we had like 800 something active clients at one point. So 800 something active clients paying $97 a month USD for CRM access, that is worth millions and millions of dollars in exit value if you want to exit your company.
Yeah.
So that's one of the biggest mistakes that me and my business partner Jazz did, is that, like, doesn't forget about agent traction, but like agent traction is obviously the main purpose of the interview. But back then, we didn't even know much about it. But like, if we had not only got those clients in our downline, obviously, but like, those same people, if they were paying $97 a month, 800 people, that's worth, I don't know how much that is. It's a lot of money. And that on an exit multiple, if you want to exit this business in 3 to 5 years, it could be worth millions and millions of dollars. And, you're selling a tech enabled company. So the multiples are, I think on average, it's like 3 to 5x the EBITDA, but I don't want to get into that as well. But the
I
main
mean,
thing.
that's such an exciting conversation, and that's a conversation that we could probably easily spend 2 hours on if we really get down to it. Because you see, like, and I think that's a really good point to sort of leave things at, which is once you get access to agentattraction.io, opens up the opportunity for you to even understand the different stages, right? And when you start to understand the continuity model, right, and the linchpin that we've talked about previously, and the SaaS model, and I didn't make that mistake. I learned from your mistakes, and you coached me on this to have that continuity early on. So now our back end is giving us passive $97 hits monthly, right? Because it just continues as part of the contract. And so when I do scale to 800, right, or 1,000 or whatever the case might be, like that revenue is always going to be incurring. So then the exit value, the multiples are just ridiculous, right? And that's such an exciting conversation that is just, it's beyond like the typical real estate agent of today. Like that now we're talking about going into the software world, which is, bro, like that's where the real money is.
Yeah,
Right? Like forget about selling 1,000 homes a year, right? Like that's like now you're onto the next level of things. And it's not everyone's interest, but I'm a nerd at the end of the day, right? Like
exactly.
that's where I belong.
It is an
So
option, right? So like some people that want to join Agent Traction IO, they just might want to make 20, 30 grand a month digital product sales, attract a few agents every now and then. Some people want to make 300 grand a month digital product sales, make multi-million dollars a year, take home over 7 figures net every single year, potentially go this into an enterprise and exit it. And at the same time, build their downline team brokerage. Like there's so many possibilities. And, everyone obviously has different things. Like obviously, you're a younger guy, but like some people might come on and like, they might be older and like they're already just want to have something that just sort of get them out of production. But there's so many use cases. And I think the last question I sort of want to ask you, of course, is like, yeah, you attract a lot of people without even actually physically making an attraction process, which I think could have easily been a really big value add. But I think a lot of
and
people
I
they
still don't know. Like it's been accidental. Like I need to learn how to properly do it.
Yeah, and I think that's a big thing. I think a lot of people, right, like they worry so much as well about like, oh, but like how many of the people are FLQA? And like the thing is, I
Mhm.
think a lot of people, what they don't think about is like you got to solve the problem first of agent attraction, and then once that's done, then you can worry about the actual product side and helping them get into that status. Because a lot
Yeah.
of people are so worried about everything so perfect, but like it's like the same thing. Like we taught you guys as well, and like this program, it's like build a marketing first and then sell people on, and then every
Mhm.
weekend go record the product. So the whole FLQA thing, it's like everyone's like, because when you're selling a digital product, no, you already have people that are motivated to you as an expert, and if they already
Yeah.
paid, they're gonna put the work in, as opposed to someone that like barely sells any real estate and doesn't put any work and get for free. So you already got a lot of the check marks boxed off, and the last thing is, can you get them to produce? And that's the product. Because if someone already pays, they're going to produce. I think a lot of people are still stuck up on like, oh, I only want people that are going to be coming in, like, mega producers coming in. I'm like, well, like then it's going to be much harder for you. So you got to solve that attraction process first. So what is your like thoughts on that? Like,
So
you
my thoughts, bro, and this conversation is going to go in a tiny bit of a different direction, but I agree with you in the sense that I think attraction needs to happen after the sign up with the program. Because the thing is, like, you don't want to just bring on a bunch of agents. That's why I say, like, if you're going to bring on agents without investment, that they're probably better on your team, so you can put them
Mm,
to work. So then they're,
yeah.
they have clear expectations of what's expected of them on your team. So if they don't hit the marks, they're out within 3 months, right? Like, I mean, it's just because you're not paying for it, right? And now the people that are actually paying for it, they have the skin in the game. They're going to do the work. Now that's a great conversation and be like, okay, you know what? Why don't you become part of our community and get access to everything? Get access to behind the curtains, get access to the daily collaboration in addition to the daily that you're already getting, right? And actually get to come to my office and spend time with how the team operates and be part of the bigger community, which is where I said where this conversation is going to go into a small, tiny, different direction, which is just be careful when selecting the organization that you choose to hang your license onto. I made that mistake, and I suffered from it because I had to walk away from a downline to then make a new one from scratch. And sure, some of the agents came through, but for a lot of people, making moves back and forth gets difficult. Interview people for the long-term goals, first of all, not just what's happening right now, what's exciting right now, but what's going to happen over the course of the next 5 years, number one. And then number two, which no one talks about, and it's crazy that you don't talk about it till you deal with it, which is the collaboration or the the mission, the vision, and the values
Mm,
of the individual that you're collaborating with need to align, right? Like if they don't align, there's just no synchronicity for the long term. And so, I don't want to go too much into it, but what I can say is I made the mistake in going with an organization that was great with great human beings, but not a uh you know
with your specific goals, it didn't align, right, in the future.
yeah, like not the same vision in mind. And so now we're going in a different direction with an organization that uh has some of the top performing teams across the nation as part of the organization. And so what happens there is now you're no longer the big fish in the tiny little pond. You're actually just another fish swimming in this massive ocean. And on top of you on this massive ocean are like 200 deals, 300 deals, 1,000 deals, right? And you're like, holy crap. We do 80 a year and we think we're, next level, right? So I think, really when picking the alignment in organization, it's important to recognize what that organization is able to then do for your digital products, right? What type of reach you're going to get, and then able to actually attract. So you're giving them enough of a value proposition, right? Like
Mm,
cloud brokerage is one thing, but a lot of agents nowadays need to be able to just go beyond Regis offices,
yeah.
right? Like they want actual office spaces across, Toronto and Calgary and, Vancouver and Surrey to be able to say, okay, I have 14, 15, 16 different locations in this cloud model that I can go to a top performing team leader and say, here's my book of business. You are Sammy's upline. I'm his downline. He's sitting in BC. I'm in Toronto. Can you please help me out?
Yeah.
Right? Like that is so important. I didn't realize that coming in, and I realize that now.
It's all like in the end, it's all marketing, like whoever can make the best offer, right? So even on the back end, like if you are trying to get them in your organization, it's still selling a product in the end of the day. Like that's still a product in and of itself. Like they're like whether they buy a coaching program or course or they invest in a software or they go join someone's downline, these are all products. It is a different means of delivery, right? So we still got to think about from a marketing lens, like how do you bring them in? But yeah, so like now I think, I can see you guys crushing it this year as well. And we can have a call as well after this and like on like what the next steps are and like how I would scale it. But what are you guys like next steps in terms of scaling revenue and like age attraction purposes? Like what the next 6, 12 months, what's your guys' goals there?
So for me, I'm again, like I said, I really want to build the team out to at least 30 agents by the end of the year. Agent attraction for me needs to be a refined process and it needs to stop being accidental. but I'm not going to put a number on agent attraction. I'm going to be happy with because it's like the fifth or sixth stream of revenue that I have coming in, right? Like, so what's more important on my radar, and agent attraction is going to happen as a consequence, is when you bring that person into a team. And I think for anyone who's listening to this and watching this video as a team leader, like imagine having a digital product that you get upfront revenue for, which services the cost of that agent for an entire year, and then bringing that agent in, and then you're getting them to go out there and just perform like an animal, right? Like,
Exactly.
so I want like my biggest goal for like the real estate side of the business is sure agent attraction, but team-based agent attraction. I want to grow my
Mm,
team to at least 30 solid performing agents. And when it comes to the consultancy, we're at a point where we're kind of stagnant now because we don't really know where to go from here. Do we up the ads? Do we get more salespeople in? Do we add another offer? We've been stuck with one offer, and that's a sidebar conversation that I need to have with you, which is like, how do we really crack that seven figure?
mm,
Right? Like that's what I want to do. Like I want to get one of those trophies, right? Like it just sure you switch over to ClickFunnels, but it's not as easy, right? Like it's not just going to happen the moment you switch to ClickFunnels and add another sales guy. So I think for the consultancy, we need to figure out, okay, like how can we consistent, like some months we'll touch 100, but then other months will, be 50, right? So there's just not consistent. So we need to consistently hit 100 every single month. And that's the goal for the rest of the year. Now, the good news is action is starting to happen in real estate, and this is all, it correlates, right? Like when the industry is picking up, more people are looking at investing. Maybe they got a couple of deals that firmed up and they're like, you know what, I've been dealing with a Sammy guy for the longest time, and maybe now I can spend the 10K that he's been asking for this whole time, right? So
he's been
I think
emailing
this
me.
year is a huge potential for both businesses to really explode. The real estate side of things, I have a clear vision, but the sort of the consultancy side of things, to get it to seven figures a year, that is really what I need your help with.
Yeah, no, I think we can definitely talk about that and for sure. And like so last question here. So for anyone that's sort of like on the fence, obviously this investment's not cheap to work with us, but what are your tips for them and what can they expect? And like someone's on the fence, like, what's like your words of wisdom for them?
I would say like do it without the fear that you're not going to be successful at it, because the the guesswork has been taken out, man. Like really, if you understand real estate, you've sold real estate, you think you can help one person that's a step behind, right? Like that picture of Russell Brunson that just comes to my mind every single day, which is how I summon even the courage to be able to help an agent that's 20 years in the business. This guy's listening to me to tell them what to do. Is as long as you're one step ahead, you can help a person who's one step behind. Right. So, with that mindset, that inner fear of failure, of, you know what, maybe this is not for me, that's going to dissipate. Once that fear is gone, that drunk monkey is no longer talking, that's when you actually can start doing the work.
Yeah.
Right. And now, in comparison to when I started, which was heavy done with you, and full on guinea pig mode, to now where you actually have components of it that are done for you, I think really the excuses are gone.
Yeah.
So allocating time and just being structured, and I think that's just basic fundamental principles of life, which is, you're starting to um, add another branch of revenue in your existing business. It doesn't mean you need to stop that business. Doesn't mean that you're not going to have enough time. You just need to identify what uh, non-revenue producing activities you're complicit in your existing business that can be delegated outwards, and that those chunks of couple hours here and there, you need to start using that time to then invest in your consultancy business and your agent attraction business, right? And
Exactly.
once you have that roadmap ahead, which is literally one weekend's worth of thinking and a diary and a notebook,
Yeah.
literally one weekend, that's all you need to get started, right?
100%. I think people overcomplicate it, like, oh, I gotta go to this course, gotta spend 6 months. It's like, no, it can be pretty much done in like a few days. And like, I think even
Dude,
whenever I buy a course, right, like, even as a CEO, like, I'll literally just binge the whole thing in a weekend, and like, I won't
dude,
watch.
that's what happened to me, man. Like I remember I came in, I waited 6 months, I didn't take any action. And literally on the 6th month, it was one weekend where I binged watched everything, implemented everything, recorded a shit ton of videos. Like I think I drank like 4 Red Bulls that day and literally recorded on my Loom like 12 hours worth of videos. Like back then the product wasn't even white labeled, right?
Yeah,
Like I had to go in and like literally redo all the videos, right? And it was done. One weekend, it was done.
that's it. I think people overthink. Like I literally, we're gonna end it off here too. But like one of our sales guys, they spoke to a lady who's been working on her product for 8 months now. And we told her, we're like, well, what if it doesn't even sell? Like,
Yeah.
like you can spend all this time building a product, but like, what if no one wants to buy it? Because like it doesn't serve a product problem, right? So I think a lot of people focus on the wrong things, and it's great that this was definitely a longer interview, but I think every single question that people have, you answered it really well, and I think if there's anything that I don't think anyone should have to really call you at this point, right? Because I think you're getting some calls. So if anything, just shoot them a DM maybe. But yeah, I really
Yeah, I
appreciate
mean,
your
if
time.
if you don't mind, dude, just a shameless plug of a lot of great agents watching this video that are gonna want to become consultancy owners, agent attractors. But there's gonna be that, maybe 30, 40% that just clicked on the ad, but they want an amazing consultancy to take them up to, 150 to 300K a year. And I think that for those people is scaleyourresults.com Coaching Incorporated. It's a phenomenal company. I run with it every single day. And so anyone who doesn't seem to be a fit of this particular program, but they just want to increase their revenue and business, please, for that reason, feel free to give me a call at any time.
Yeah, scaleyourresults.com. So that's what it is. It's an awesome domain name, and it's awesome you actually got that. But yeah, like so yeah, anything that you guys have, you want to work with Sammy more at a personal level, and you want to help your production, you get systems and everything, Sammy's the guy to go to. So scaleyourresults.com. And yeah, Sammy,
Mention Prab's name, you get 10% off.
yeah,
Yeah, of
thank you so much. I really, really
course, man.
appreciate it. This is, I know you're a busy guy, and you're crushing it, and in your businesses, and taking time in your day is definitely a big thing for you. So appreciate it so much, and
Of
we'll
course.
talk soon.
Absolutely. Thanks, man.